Backed by popular demand, I have another Baltany watch to show you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Vintage Warlock channel. I hope you are all safe and well. And today we're going to be having a look at another Baltany watch, back by popular demand. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this review, I'm going to make a couple of things clear to you all. First of all, this watch was sent to me for free by Baltany and I do not have to send it back. Secondly, if you are interested in picking up this watch, I will leave links in the description below. I've got a link to the official Baltany store and also the official Baltany website as well. Now, some of these links will be affiliate links. I will mark which ones are affiliate links in the description below. Affiliate links do not cost you any extra whatsoever, but it does pay a small commission to the channel, which means I can add some more coins to the VW purse so I can go out and buy some other watches and get them to review. But without further ado, let's dive into this Baltany watch. So Baltany are quickly developing a reputation for vintage done right, especially with a lot of AliExpress watches. They're doing something a little different and I really appreciate that. And they're also not interested with following the hype train as well, if you like. So you don't get any Submariner homages, you don't get any, sort of popular modern day homages. What Baltany do, and they stick within their fence post really well, is that they look at vintage style military inspired watches and they roll with it, and I think it does an incredible job at doing that. And in that keeping, this watch is certainly inspired by the old field trench watches that you would have had in World War One. Obviously, it is not a complete replica of those style of watches, but it is very, very similar. I'm going to run through some specifications with you now before I get into the main part of the review. So first of all, the model number for this one is the S184036/B. The movement is a Seagull ST1700. It's the same movement that is in the Dirty Dozen watch, which I reviewed in the other week. It is a hand winding mechanical movement. The case design is 316L stainless steel and it is a square case design. Now the watch that I've got, it for all intents and purposes looks like it's bronze, but it actually has an IP gold coating and it's gone through sort of an aging process to make it look sort of like it's bronze and sort of like it's a vintage inspired watch, and I quite like that. It has a case diameter of 36 millimeters. It has a lug to lug of 43 millimeters, a thickness of 8.8 millimeters, and that goes up to 11 millimeters if you include the glass. The glass is a domed sapphire crystal and it does have some AR coating on it as well. Just like the Baltany Dirty Dozen that I reviewed recently, this has polished cathedral hands and this time they are in a blue, off blue style colour. This watch has Superluminova and it's a retro style. I will put in a lume shot as well of this watch. The lume on this watch is okay. It's pretty good again for a field watch, if not outstanding for a field watch, just like the Dirty Dozen. Strap width or lug width is 18 millimeters, and this watch has a genuine leather strap with quick release, which is a bit of an upgrade compared to the Dirty Dozen watch, which had a pass-through NATO style strap when I had that before. Finally, this watch has 200 meters of water resistance and it weighs in at around 55 grams. So I really appreciate the small proportions of this watch. I think that square cases obviously wear differently to circular cases, but I do appreciate the fact that this watch is a little smaller and it's in keeping with a lot of the retro watches on which it is actually based, or vintage watches in which it's actually based. On the face of the watch, you have normal numerals all the way through. You've got 1 through to 5. The 5 is slightly cut out, and then 7 slightly cut out, and then 8 to 12. There is no 6 on this watch, which I think is a pretty good move, seeing as you've got the sub second hand to sort of in that place where the 6 would have been. The numerals on the face of the dial are applied, and the only real colours that you get from this, apart from black and gold, are the tinges of blue that you have in the cathedral hands and on the sub-second hand. And Baltany keep it nice and simple by just having their name on the dial and nothing else. No movement, no numbers, no nothing. It is just pure and simple Baltany. The case itself, it has a fixed bezel, and I'm quite a fan of sort of like, it's almost like a spring style bezel that they have. It looks pretty good, and I feel that it works really well with the watch itself. The cushion case, the square cushion case, looks pretty good. You can see the lugs protruding out quite well. Yes, it's quite a flat watch from the side profile, but with a relatively short lug to lug and a small case size, I don't really think it matters. The back of the case is sterile. There is nothing on it, and again, that is done intentionally because of it being a vintage retro style watch. And the crown, obviously it's screw down because it's 200 meters of water resistance, and it follows the same sort of patterns that you get on the fixed bezel, but it is unsigned. Finally, moving on to the strap, it is a nice piece of genuine leather. It is quite rigid, so it doesn't conform to the wrist initially quite well, but after wearing it for a week, it now starts to feel a little nicer when it is on wrist. The buckle is the same sort of colouring and material as the case, which again is quite a nice touch from Baltany. On the side, on the back of the leather straps, you've got genuine leather on one side and the words Baltany on the other. Sitting on my 7.5-inch wrist, this watch does look pretty good. The proportions are just fine. I'm no stranger to a smaller sized watch, and 36mm with an 18mm strap is actually what I would class as being one of the perfect sizes for a watch of this type. And for a watch of this type, I would mean a field watch. It also works really well for dress watches as well, and some Garda or everyday watches look pretty good with 36mm and 18mm lug widths. I'm unsure how much AR coating Baltany have put on this watch. They do stipulate AR coating on their website. You do get some bounce back and some play with the light with this watch, but not as much as you would do with other watches that have a domed sapphire crystal. Also didn't mention price as well, so this watch is retailing at around $185, and that's around £160 UK sterling. Again, links to both of these will be in the description below. So overall, I think this watch is well built. It looks good on wrist, and it has a certain aesthetic which I think is unique and important to sort of celebrate, especially with some of these military style watches that you see coming out nowadays. There's not many of them that look at this from a look at a trench style watch. Things that I'm not so keen on with this watch, it's sort of hard to say really. The only thing that I haven't got on with since getting this watch was the leather strap, just because of how stiff it is. Other than that, I can't really think of anything at the moment that I'm not so keen on with this watch, and it may just be because I've not had this watch for long enough to sort of heavily critique it. But in terms of its design, in terms of how it looks on wrist, the dial, everything else, no, I quite like this one. So I'm not sure if this watch is going to be part of the 11/11 sale. However, if you do want to buy this watch, I have the affiliate links below. I also have a link to the Baltany website, and I believe on the Baltany website there is a coupon for $6 off. But that is everything with this review, guys. What do you think of the Baltany watch? Do you have Baltany watches? I know that a couple of you have asked for a W10 review, which I'm going to see if I can get my hands on one of those. But do you like Baltany watches, or do you have any other that are your favourite on AliExpress? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this video. I've also got links to my Instagram pages, Amazon store and eBay store. Guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in a future video.